The year is 2006. Animation is reaching a whole new height. Every studio was trying to make the next big thing. But one fateful day, perfection was born. Hoodwinked. Can we talk about that? I was absolutely obsessed with this movie as a kid. I've probably watched it like, I don't know, a few times. I'm just now learning that it came out on my birthday. That might have something to do with it, but I think the schnitzel guy really just pulled me in. As the years went by, I remembered this movie somewhat fondly, even though I feel like the general consensus is most people think it's pretty bad, which I always wholeheartedly argued against. But I realized I haven't actually watched this movie in a long time, and I don't really remember anything about it. I mean, even just like looking up where to watch it, I was finding like still images, and I was like, wow, I don't remember that. So I decided it was time to rewatch the movie and see how it held up after all these years. And my God, is it horrible to look at. Just some of the characters' eyes are scarier looking than anything I've ever seen in my nightmares. I was trying to do this fun banana bit thing, but I squished it too hard. It's fine. We have Old Spice. The movie starts off like how most of my family gatherings do. Everybody's screaming and pointing at each other. However, unlike most of my family gatherings, there's somebody there to calm everybody down and get to the bottom of things. See, there's a criminal going around stealing all of the recipes from all the bakeries in the forest, which is putting them out of business. I don't know how losing a piece of paper makes you forget how to bake a cookie. We'll just assume animals have really bad short-term memory. And Red, the main character of the story, has the last recipe in the forest. Or baked goods. I'm not sure. I'm sure they specified, but it's kind of hard to pay attention with that looking at you. On the way to her grandmother's, though, she's stopped by a wolf who really wants those recipes because he's the big bad wolf. Basically, it's just a normal Red Riding Hood story, but it ends with a police investigation, and instead of arresting the clearly evil wolf or the man who busted through the window with an axe, they just sit them all in the kitchen and like talk with them. They even make a sandwich. Thankfully, though, they try to get everybody's side of the story, and this is where the movie really starts playing to its strength. See, each character has their own story that interweaves with the other stories, and they end up places, and the others end up other places, and it just works. And so we get to the wolf's part of the story. Turns out he's not the big bad evil wolf. He's just a news reporter, and he's trying to get to the bottom of things. Oh, also, I should mention, the wolf's voiced by this guy. I don't know how to say that name, but his voice is really funny. Anyways, he's just a news reporter, and he's trying to get to the bottom of who's going around stealing all the recipes. And, well, his first and main suspect is the one person in the story that has recipes still. Which, honestly, that's a pretty good place to start. I don't know why they're so hard on him. Again, Red Riding Hood and the Wolf story they're pretty much basically like the normal story. With one little difference. See, I don't know how the wolf pretends to be the grandmother in the original story, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't involve wearing a costume she has of herself in her own house. This movie also tried to do what Shrek was doing at the time, where it puts all these fairy tale creatures in the same world, and they all have their fairy tale still, even though they don't go together, and it makes no sense for them to line up together. Like, there's the little pigs, whatever this thing is. Oh, by the way, the grandmother was already tied up in her own closet when he got there. What? Something this movie does really good is it weaves all these character storylines in and around each other. Because you'd be like, oh, the wolf tied her up and put her in the closet. Oh, but she's already tied up there. And, oh, you see the grandmother in the sky. That's because she was in the sky? It's cool. It's fun being like, oh, that's what was happening. But it's just so stupid. And speaking of stupid,
Oz Bunion Cream has the soothing formula to make the bunions head for the hills.
I don't know if they could have made a bigger German caricature if they had tried. I mean, he wants to yodel. He's got the outfit. He has a schnitzel truck. Before this movie, the only schnitzel I knew was a rock. And after this movie, I still don't know what schnitzel is. I definitely don't want to try it now either. I remember even as a kid, I thought the scene was really weird, especially just how obsessed these, I refuse to call them children, are obsessed with it. I feel like whatever budget they had for this movie, because clearly the budget wasn't very high, but I feel like whatever budget they had for this movie, they had used most of it by the time they got to this part. Because it just takes like a notable decrease. Also, it turns out he's not a big scary lumberjack. He's just an actor, and he fell through the window practicing his role. Last up is the grandma. Why was she tied up in her own closet, you might be asking? Is she just a freak in the sheets? Cookie sheets, that is. No, it actually turns out that she's obsessed with extreme sports and has the first place trophy in like any sport you could think of. What, you didn't guess that? For some reason, upon hearing this news, Red just becomes devastated. She feels like she's betrayed, and she, like, shuns her Red Riding Hood heritage. Look, it's blue because she's sad, and she's not red anymore. Do you get it? Do you get it? This whole scene is completely useless. The only reason they have her all sad and dramatic is because to tug on heartstrings, I guess, somehow. And for an excuse for her to find out who the real recipe thief is, this random bunny. I've refrained from bringing up the bunny because I felt like if I talked about him too much, you would go, well, obviously the bunny's the bad guy. But the issue is, the people writing this didn't think of that. The bunny is clearly the bad guy. He shows up like every 5 seconds, and every time something goes wrong, he was there for it. But no one's ever questioning him. And the worst part is, this blew my mind as a kid. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was the greatest twist ever created. After this happens, though, he retreats to his Resident Evil style bunker, where they clearly only had $3 left in the budget for this fight scene. The worst part about the fight scene isn't the fight scene, it's that it happens 3 more times. There's this fight scene, and then this fight scene, and then that's kind of a fight scene. And nothing changes from any of these. She's still in the ski lift. Yes, there's a ski lift. In the end, Granny's extreme sports moves just end up saving the day, and the bunny slides himself into a jail cell. It's a kid's movie. It's just an ugly one. The movie's not bad. It's definitely pretty funny, and I definitely laughed a few times. The issue is, it looks like that, and apart from the beginning where the storylines are interweaving and it's fun and creative and, ooh, why are they there? Oh, that's why they're there. It's not a good story. Honestly, there were definitely better movies coming out around now. I think Shrek 2 had just come out. At the end of all this, what did we learn? That I'm just an adult making fun of a kid's movie. Now that sounds sad, but I'd argue if you make me look at this, then I get to make fun of you. I give this movie a 6 schnitzel-possessed kids out of 7. My friend the other day said that I end my videos too abruptly, so I'm really gonna try